Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello and welcome back to Real World Magic, where we make your life more magical. My name is Neil Trigger.
My name's John Joe.
And this is a collaboration video. Today we're talking with John Joe from his channel John Joe's Top 10s to pick our top 10 magic tricks. John will go ahead and pick one, then I'll pick one, and we can work out together who gets the coveted number one slot. Now remember, this is a very subjective thing, so this isn't based on a poll, this is just our opinions, and if you agree or don't agree, let us know in the comments. Let's start by introducing our special guest.
My name's John Joe, and I do my own channel with top 10 lists of facts and tips. Ranging from things like top 10 paradoxes where I end up shooting myself, to things like top 10 tips on how to survive the zombie apocalypse.
Great, thanks man, good to see you here. Now, without further ado, let's get on with this thing. Number 10.
Okay, so this trick only requires 21 cards. Let's say the Joker is the card that you choose. I'm going to shuffle the deck just so you know that it's lost inside of here. So once I've placed the piles, that's when you tell me where your card would be. So go through it. There it is. There we go. So I would say, where's your card? Which pile is it in? And obviously this one. So I'd pick them up again. And I'd put it on the middle. I'd sandwich it right between the two other decks of cards. So Joker is somewhere in the middle. And then I'd do it again. This is the one the Joker's in, so we put that one on top of there and underneath that one. And then we do it one more time. So I'd say it again, and it's in this pile. So do the same process, put it in the middle, and then we do it one more time. Your card is always the 11th card in the deck.
Number 9.
I thought long and hard about this, and I think this point needs to go to the Crazy Man's Handcuffs. The Crazy Man's Handcuffs was one of the first tricks I ever learned in 1999, and it spurred my love of magic. It features two rubber bands which pass through each other. It's a simple trick, but it's visibly stunning. Remember that only a crazy man would use elastic bands as handcuffs. Invented by Michael Amar, Crazy Man's Handcuffs is versatile enough to mix with other elastic band tricks to form a very strong impromptu magic routine. And as a working magician, having a very strong magic trick that you can do at the drop of a hat is very useful.
Number 8.
So this card trick may take a little while to set up. Now, I'm going to promise you that I haven't just memorized everything. You can just ask my wife. There's absolutely no chance I could remember that. I walk into the kitchen saying what I need and I still come out with something else. But yeah, so the trick is you pick any 3 piles and then I can tell you what the top 3 cards add up to. So for the purposes of this, I'll choose for you. So then I'm going to pick up the other piles. So I'm going to tell you what these 3 cards add up to. So if there were 2, 2 and 2, then I'd say 6. So all I need to do is look at my cards that I have here. These 3 cards will add up to 10. 2 are 3, so I need this to be 7.
Number 7.
Twixter. This magic trick was invented by me, and so I decided to explain the basic idea. You have a spectator select a card, then you, the magician, produce a Twix bar, because all great magicians should have a few Twix up their sleeves. Haha. As a joke, by the way, don't store food in your clothes for real. The chocolate stains could cause problems. Long story short, the magician reveals the card carved into the Twix bar. I sold the Twixter internationally, and it received, shall we say, mixed reviews. Some people love it, some people hate it, but I just want to point out that it's not really a trick that you're buying. You're buying a nice little colour change and a gag prop. The prop itself is made out of resin and has a card carved into the base like this. As for the colour change, it looks like this. You have one card selected and then returned into the deck. You show it and push it back into the deck, show that there's nothing between your fingers, and a quick wave of your hand later, the card on the face of the deck changes. If you want to buy the Twixter, by the way, there's a link down here in the description.
Number 6.
I'm going to ask you to pick 2 cards. So we got those 2 cards. I want you to tell me stop when you want me to put one of the cards back in the deck. And because I can't hear you, I'm just gonna guess. So let's say now. So I'm gonna put that like that there. Okay, so I'm gonna put that there. And then I'm gonna do it again. And stop. So we got that there. If I spread them out, I'm going to guess your cards was the Jack of Diamonds and the Queen of Clubs. I'm joking, that wouldn't be so good, would it? So, no. This one, however, and this one will be the cards I tell you. So this one's the King of Clubs, and this one is the Ace of Spades. Now this trick is actually pretty simple and it requires memory, so for me it wasn't exactly simple. I actually did this 3 times before getting it right. So when I spread the deck out like that, you may notice that the cards I chose were these 2. So what you have to do is just remember where they are, bottom and top. So when I asked you to choose 2 cards, let's just pick a new 2, which are these 2, and I bring them back together, you realise that the King of Clubs is on the bottom and the Ace is on the top. So when I do this, the Ace goes here. So I'm doing, and then you put one back in the deck. So we put that there. Well, when I put cards back in on top, they go straight there. So I know when that card comes out. So when the card goes on top, the King will be there. And then I do the next one. So it's the Ace of Spades that goes on top of there. So now when I go like that, I can bring out the cards here instead, and I know what they are. It's pretty simple and easy to do, and it will still fool quite a lot of people.
Number 5!
Mismade Lady. This trick is one of my favourite illusions. The magician deliberately chops his assistant into pieces and then reassembles her in the wrong order. Usually this illusion is done on stage, but it can be done surrounded and has a great advantage of showing perfect viewing angles.
Number 4.
You might have noticed by now that some of the tricks I like are the ones that work themselves out. They don't require actual sleight of hand or any tricks, they just work. And that's pretty much the same for this one, but it does require some skill. Now this trick done by Kostya Kimlat took him 17 years to master before showing it on Penn and Teller's Fool Us. At first he shows a version of the trick where he gets Alison on stage, tells her to pick a card, and he says when you say it out loud, your card will magically appear from the deck into my other hand. But he wanted to do something a bit different, something a bit more special for Penn and Teller, which is why he chose his own version of the trick that he's been practicing for 17 years and hasn't really shown that many people. He sets up the cards like this, so that there's no way he can do sleight of hand, or at least it would be a lot more harder. And then he tells them to pick a card by flicking through them like that. He then spreads them out and shows Penn and Teller so that they can confirm their card is still in the deck. He then explains that when they say the card out loud, he will shoot the cards down into the table and with his other hand grab the card from the deck and show it them. And so they shout out the King of Spades, and to their surprise, he pulled out the King of Spades. Now, although this trick did not fool Penn and Teller, it amazed me how he did it. This isn't really a trick at all. In fact, when he put the card in the deck, he just remembered where he put it in the deck. When he sprayed them on the table, he put his hand in to grab it at the moment that it came out. It took 17 years to perfect that, just knowing where the card is in the deck to spray it and grab it from the deck. As with my other tricks, there was no illusion, but with his trick, it's just a pure case of practice makes perfect, and you'll get there.
Number 3!
Sawing the lady in half. There are so many versions of this sawing the lady in half illusion that it's hard to know which one to start with. A lady gets into a box, the magician cuts the box in half and pulls the 2 halves apart. I once had an illusion a bit like this that didn't actually use a box, but did use an electric saw. I only ever used it for one show and I sold it to a magic shop, and incidentally the lady did survive. David Copperfield does a similar illusion, but he uses a gigantic buzz saw with a huge circular disc. Bit scary that.
Number 2!
So you might have seen Death by Magic on Netflix, hosted by DMC, where he performs magic tricks that killed the magician that did them. And in my opinion, this was the best escape that he had done. So he gets into a car, he's handcuffed to the steering wheel, and they put chains around his neck that are attached to the roof. And then they fill it with water.
Go water!
And he has to escape. The water rises fast, and as he frees his hands, he goes for the chain around his neck. At this point, the water is already at his shoulders. As the water fills the car completely, the audience start wondering, after a fair amount of time passes, if he's actually failed the task. You can start to hear the audience yelling and screaming.
That's crazy.
Get out!
As two men come up to the side of the car, blocking the view with a sheet, only for about 5 seconds until his hands start pressing against the sheet, as he literally seems to pass through the side of the car as if by magic. He then presses further into the sheet until then revealing that he is finally free. Albeit soaking wet, but he is free, and I would say unharmed, but his childhood fears got the better of him and he actually ended up cutting his hand.
And finally, number 1!
Ambitious card. This versatile little card trick basically sees one card rising through the deck again and again and again in different ways until they become entirely impossible, initially starting as sleight of hand and then becoming more and more magical. Some end with a card to an impossible location, like inside a lemon. I like to have my spectator sign the card and for the card to end up on the ceiling, stuck above their head. I've earned so many free drinks and telephone numbers from this trick, it's impossible to count. So there it is, our number 1. So what did you think of our top 10? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Please let us know down in the comments. This, as I said, was a collaboration video with John Joe's Top 10s.
It's been great to be a part of Real World Magic today, and if you want to see more of us, then join us for Top 10 Haunted Places in the UK, and I'll be seeing you there.
Please check out his channel down there in the description, the link's down there. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I really appreciate every view, every like, every subscribe. Give us a big thumbs up just to let us know that you liked it. Do comment down below as well, and we'll see you in the next video. So until next time, stay magical. By the way, we do have another collaboration video over on John Joe's channel. Check it out, links in the description.